economic stability and confidence. Propagandists are top of critical beliefs of this minister and the prophet.
Give us access to our money
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I
no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. Propagandists are top of critical beliefs of this minister and the prophet.
Give us access to our money
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. Propagandists are top of critical beliefs of this minister and the prophet.
Give us access to our money
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. Propagandists are top of critical beliefs of this minister and the prophet.
Give us access to our money
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we look at the stories. First, Rivers State. APC postpones ward, local government, state congresses. And then on to Kano State. Court sacks Kansec chairman, stops local government polls. And still on PDP crisis, court stops Bala-led faction from holding NEC meeting. And on National Assembly, Senate constitutes panel to probe NDLEA's allegation against Senator Ashiru. On EFCC, Supreme Court reserves judgment. On local government autonomy, no moratorium for governors on implementation. Attorney General of the Federation says we are open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away.
Economic stability and confidence. Propagandists are top of critical beliefs of this minister and the prophet.
Give us access to our money
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage
front lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
And will place economic stability and confidence. Your propagandists are puppet critical beliefs of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money
As always said, there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
And will place economic stability and confidence. Your propagandists are puppet critical beliefs of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money
As always said, there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Ndamzi Ekulo. Ndamzi Ekulo is a political analyst. Ndamzi is also a legal professional and a conflict resolution expert. Good morning, Ndamzi, and welcome to Open Conversation.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, viewers out there.
And on to the story. All Progressive Congress in Rivers State has postponed its ward, local government area and state congresses. ATN reports that the congresses were scheduled to hold on October 26, 2024, November 2, 2024, and November 9, 2024, respectively. However, a statement issued by APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Morka confirmed the development on Tuesday. According to him, the party will announce a new date. He said new dates for the congresses will be announced in due course. What do you make of this development?
Yes, I think going by the crisis in different states, APC crisis in different states, they need to put their house together before.
This is particular about
yes,
in Rivers State.
Yes, using Rivers State as a case study, they need to put their house in order before holding any Congress, because you can see the leadership tussle in Rivers State. If the Congress were to be held now, who will anchor it? Who will organize? Who will take lead? So I think the APC have just played a fast one to resolve the crisis in-house before.
The question is APC resolving the crisis in-house?
Well, the matter is in court.
In Rivers State.
Yeah, the Rivers State is really of major concern. The matter is in court, and at this point, I know the national body of the party, from their body language, is dancing to the tune of Tony Okocha. It's a fact.
Is it by their body language?
It's a fact.
Or what they have said and done?
What they have said, and their body language shows that they are in tandem with Tony Okocha because of what happened during the last general election here.
What happened during the last general election, which the aftermath of that election was the suspension of Emeka Beke and the inauguration of Tony Okocha-led CTC. Yes. However, the court has given judgment, and Emeka Beke has been restated as the state chairman of APC. However, the National Working Committee says they don't recognize Emeka Beke, and they are also of the opinion that in that suit, that APC National was not party to the suit. However, the people that were party to the suit in this instance was Ganduje, the chairman of APC, and the APC secretary. Their names, not their positions. So, I mean, that APC National Working Committee was arguing that APC is not part of that suit, that it was individuals that were party to the suit, not the party itself. So whatever the decision of the court is, it's not binding to them because an order was not given to them, but to these individuals. And they went ahead to say that they recognize Tony Okocha as the caretaker committee chairman of Rivers State. However, you also recall that at the expiration of Tony Okocha's tenure as CTC chairman, they also renewed it again. It was renewed.
Yes,
so that is the APC National Working Committee clearly, setting boundaries and saying they are disregarding this court judgment and they are going with what they want to do. If I may ask you, Ndamzi, now this argument that APC National has proffered to, probably give justification for their reason for not obeying this judgment of court. How valid is that argument, that it was individuals and not the party that was party to the suit?
Well, I have always advocated against institutions and strong men disobeying court judgment, irrespective of who is involved. When a court of final jurisdiction, when a court have given final judgment in a matter, no matter who is involved, the proper thing to do is to appeal that judgment, get a stay of execution, get the court to order stay, and appeal the judgment, other than disregarding or disobeying court order. I would not advise anybody or party to disobey the judgment of the court. So that position of the APC National, in my opinion, as a lawyer, I think they are making a mistake. They need to, firstly, obey the order as it is and do the needful at the higher courts.
However, Tony Okocha has said he will appeal the judgment, and I'm sure he did. Now, in the light of this right now, how do you think this is going to affect APC in Rivers State? Tony Okocha has been carrying on, regardless of the court judgment. Tony Okocha has been carrying on as the party chairman, caretaker committee chairman in the state. He has been having press conferences, making releases, and you know, one of his most recent statements is that he will continue, APC, not him, but APC will continue to constructively criticize the government of Governor Similaye Fubara. Now, and that is what he is doing, the party is doing as an opposition party, that the strategy is to demarket the governor so that they can have a chance at winning 2027 Guba elections. From the actions of Tony Okocha, clearly, you know, he is the one that has been, you know, if you're hearing APC in Rivers State, I mean, it's synonymous to Tony Okocha. On the other hand, the APC chairman in Rivers State, Chief Emeka Beke, one would say so far has clearly, you know, pledged allegiance to the PDP governor. And so far, nobody, I mean, Ndamzi, have you heard Chief Tony Okocha at any point in time play opposition to this present administration in Rivers State? In face of all these controversies and conundrum, what is the way forward? Because like it or yes, there is a timeline for all these things. If at the expiration of this timeline and nothing is done, at some point INEC will derecognize them. So
yes, I think the way forward is simple. If the National Executive Council, which is the highest lawmaking organ of the party, wades into the matter sincerely. See, it's all about honesty. It's all about meeting of the minds.
Compromising.
Yes, of course. People need to sit at a table and look at what the issues are.
Why should Emeka Beke compromise when the law is on his side?
See,
have you thought about that?
Party politics, it's not a personal affair. One man cannot make up the party. My take here is this. Emeka Beke is on the side of the law. The court have given him recognition. We are not disputing that. My advice as a lawyer is, let the national body of the party obey that judgment and pursue what they are pursuing in the higher court. That is, if they have foreclosed every opportunity of arbitrarily or negotiating the matter. Ordinarily, I would advise them to bring in both parties together on a table and come up with ways of shielding their sword. Because it's just about who gets what and how. So the both dramatis personae are supposed to sit with the National Executive Committee and look at these issues squarely. Let the National Executive Council call a spade and resolve the issues in the party.
Now, yes, you have said that, but also we will not take away the fact that APC crisis in Rivers State has now gone way beyond anti-party activities, because now, you know, Chief Emeka Beke clearly has his allegiances to the governor. Antonio Okocha has clearly been linked to the FCT minister. So even the PDP crisis in Rivers State has APC undertone. APC is interwoven into it. So now, how will the National Working Committee mediate into a situation like this? However, one would say these congresses that was cancelled, these elective congresses, don't you think it would have been actually a solution? Because, I mean, why not hold the elections? Let the party members vote to lead them in Rivers State. And then one can say, okay, these are the substantial or substantive elected members of the party. And that settles the matter of Tony Okocha and Emeka Beke, because now there is a clear leadership in the party as a result of the elections.
Yes, the congresses would not solve the crisis in the party.
The elections?
Yeah, the elections.
Why do you say
Instead, it will bring more crisis into the party. If you hold party congresses now that the two big men are fighting, jostling for control, and who holds authority in the party, you're holding Congress at this point. You just like you pouring PMS into the fire. The flame will be so much. The House cannot contain it anymore. So I think that decision to postpone the Congress is a very good one. So that gives them opportunity now to rally around both parties. One of the ways, like I opined before, one of the ways of settling this is let the NEC invite both parties, hear from them, and possibly set out terms of settlement. If that is agreed, they can withdraw the matters from the court and hold their Congress. Because that matter is in court. That's leadership tussle.
Now,
however,
what if it is impossible at this point to reach a compromise between these warring parties, and the time given for, by INEC elapses? INEC will naturally recognize APC in Rivers State.
That's
You're aware
true.
of that, right?
That is lawful.
Is that also not a loss?
That is lawful. You see, we are saying same thing but from different angle. It's simple. In arbitration, what does arbitration stand to achieve? Arbitration firstly stand to heal relationship. That is the first motive of arbitration. But the court processes hampers relationship. Arbitration is less expensive. The court processes is expensive. Arbitration is less time consuming, but the court processes takes time. In the beginning of this converse, I made mention of honesty. Honesty is key in achieving peace. When both warring parties are honest in their presentations and in laying claims to that seat, believe me, it will aid those that are arbitrating to find solution to that matter. Once the parties take a turn on terms and agree on terms, that settles it. They go there, withdraw the matter from court, and the party can go ahead with its congresses hitch-free.
All right.
Otherwise, holding the Congress now will add more flame.
All right, interesting times in APC Rivers State. I will bring you the developments as the stories break. And then on to Kano State. Federal High Court sitting in Kano has disqualified the chairman and members of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission from conducting the scheduled local government elections in the state. The court ruled that the CANSEC chairman and other members of the commission are card-carrying members of the ruling New Nigeria People's Party and also are not civil servants above grade level 14. This is coming barely 4 days to the Kano local government elections scheduled for Saturday, October 26, 2024. The court, presided by Justice S.A. Amobede, made the declaration while delivering judgment in a suit filed by Aminu Aliyu Tiga, an All Progressive Congress member, against CANSEC, the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Haruna Esa Dederi, and 14 others. According to him, the defendants, being card-carrying members of the NNPP and in partisan politics, contrary to Section 197, subsection 1B and Section 200, subsection 1A of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and Section 4 of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2001, are not qualified to be the chairman and members of the CANSEC. The judge further ruled that Kabir Zakirai, the secretary of the commission, not being an officer in the Kano State Civil Service, not below the rank of director prior to his appointment as secretary of the commission, is not qualified to be appointed to the position pursuant to Section 14 of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2001. The judge added that the first defendant, CANSEC, whose composition of members was made in contravention of constitutional provisions of Section 197, subsection 1B, and Section 200, subsection 1A of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and Section 4 of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2001, cannot validly and competently conduct local government election 2024 in respect of 44 local governments in Kano State until and unless qualified persons are duly and legally appointed as chairman and members of the commission in line with the relevant law. Justice Amobede further ruled that whatever the commission did or has done or is doing in preparation of the 2024 local government election in Kano State, such as issuance of election guidelines, circulars, screening of candidates, self-nomination and expression interest forms, whichever and howsoever are null and void and of no effect whatsoever. The defendants are forthwith disqualified and removed from their positions as chairman and members of the commission. The first defendant, Kansiek, is forthwith restrained from conducting 2024 local government election in respect of 44 local governments in Kano State until and unless qualified persons are duly appointed. The judge continued to say the defendants are mandated forthwith not to participate or monitor the conduct of local government election 2024 in Kano State until and unless the provisions of Section 197 subsection 1B, 199 subsection 2 and 200 subsection 1A of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and sections 4 subsection B and 14(1) of Kano State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2001 are fully complied with in the appointment of qualified persons as chairman and members of the first defendant. The judge added. Justice Amobede directed the police and other security agencies to forthwith ensure full compliance with the ruling. Ndamzi, now this is your forte. You are a lawyer. What do you make of this judgment?
Thank you very much. And I give kudos to the judge who gave the judgment looking at the provisions of the Constitution and the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission law. You see, Lorisha, we have said it different times, at different times, that disobedience to the Constitution have consequences. When people flagrantly disobey and disregard the laws of the land, we will have an anarchical situation. How will a governor, for example, appoint those he or she knows that are not qualified to be in a particular seat, simply because you have the power to hire and fire without recourse to the law? No, I say no to that. And I must say that the times we are in the country is very, very interesting. I am very, much happy about the way the cases are flooding the courts. People are beginning to ask questions. That gives me joy every day in the country. You wake up, you hear people testing the law, testing what they call, testing the validity of institutions to act on a matter or not. Testing those whom we have given power. Are they really working in line with the rules and regulations? Are they really working in line with the Constitution? I am very much glad with this judgment because it is a test case, even for other states now. So, the effect of this judgment is simple. The effect is that everything done by that commission, beginning from the sale of form, the timetable as issued, the preparation for election, you can see the court was very straight and particular about it. The court said everything is null and void. Yes, the chairman and members are within their rights to appeal the judgment, but I am very certain that the appellate court will also look at what the law says in 197(1)(b) and in 200(b) of the Constitution, and also Section 4 of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission. I'm very certain that the appellate court will not do anything different than what the Eastern Court has so far have done, because that judgment is in line with the provisions of the Constitution and the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission law.
Now the question will be, it will be one thing for the judiciary or the judge in this instance to give a judgment, and another thing for that judgment to be obeyed. We have seen instances where state governors have refused to obey court order and court judgments. Not even just state governors, but also institutions as well have, flagrant disobedience to the judgment and orders of the courts. The question would be the audaciousness, the brazenness by which these people, these politicians and the institutions, in whatever instance, choose not to obey court judgments and court orders. And guess what? At the end of the day, there are no consequences. Is it not a case where contempt of court, it applies only to the common man, one would say. It applies only to common man. But in this country, the judgment of the court is for the commoners. The rulings and orders of the court is for the commoners. But for institutions and for heavyweight politicians, it appears to not have any meaning at all. That's why I am worried at this judgment. In as much as the fact, Ndamsi, that you applaud it, does that mean that it will be obeyed?
Well, thank you very much. Very interesting question you asked there. Going by the Nigerian factor, we know that we are in a country where strong men and institutions find it difficult to obey court orders. But huge blame should be on the security agencies. You can see the judgment directed the police to enforce what the court have said. Section 4 of the Police Act gives the police powers to maintain law and order in the society. To maintain law and order, if rule of law is not maintained, then I wonder what the society will be like. The society will just be like, will be anarchical in such a way that somebody can just run to you and take your glasses and break it and walk away. Somebody can come, oh, Laurentia, give me your car key. Nothing happens. So I disagree with you on one part, that this judgment will not be obeyed. No, this judgment will be obeyed. And if it is not obeyed, Nigerians should ask the Inspector General of Police questions why the judgment was not obeyed.
How many judgments have been obeyed by sitting governors? How many judgments and orders have been obeyed by sitting governors? How many judgments and orders have been obeyed by institutions?
See, Laurentia, we know that our country is really in a shaky situation now. All right? A lot have gone bad in the country, truth be told. And we know that so many have this disdain for court judgments. In fact, so many citizens, when they hear, oh, court, they will tell you, no, those judges will take bribe. No, it is not always the case. Don't forget, the courts are there to interpret the laws and set a direction. The courts, yes, we know in legal practice, we say the court have powers to defend itself when the court is directly offended. For example, when there is content in the face of court, you hear lawyers say, oh, my lord, you have the power, the courts have the power to defend itself. I'm urging the court now to defend itself. Or in a case where someone have refused to come to court as summoned on several occasions. You hear adverse party telling the court to defend itself. But in the case of a final judgment of the court, there are procedures to execute a judgment. And most judgments, when it has to do with institutions, are always directed to the police. You see instructions. You see the instructive nature of the judgment. Please, the police force, ensure the enforcement of this judgment. A particular example is the 2003 judgment. No, sorry. Let me be very certain here. Let me just use the general nature. The Amechi, Omehia, and PDP case. You see, when that judgment came, Justice Kutigi was particular in instructing the IG of police to ensure its enforcement immediately. Believe me, now and then, the IG went on air. You see, all the institutions empowered with enforcement. The Commissioner of Police swung into action. Everything was in place. And Amechi landed safely in Rivers State. Then we were all together. We all received him in the airport and drove straight to Government House. And the man took the oath of office and resumed as the governor of the state. So I don't see anything different happening here. Who says that judgments cannot be obeyed in the country? It is just institutional failures. Over time, the institutions have failed simply because the leadership is weakened. That is a fact. It's a truth. We need to look at these things squarely so that we can get it right once and for all in the country. The police is the problem. Let the police move forward and enforce that judgment. You see, police have the right to go there and seal up the premises of Kansek until the right thing is done. Police have the right to approach the governor and ask the governor to obey the judgment. It is the right of the police. That's why Section 4 of their Police Establishment Act says they have the powers to maintain law and order in the society.
Right. Right. And Federal High Court sitting in Zamfara State has declined the request for an ex parte order backed by a faction of the chairman of the People's Democratic Party Governors Forum, Governor Bala Mohammed, to hold the party's National Executive Council meeting. The group approached the court for an order to hold the next meeting as the party's factional crisis deepened. Ruling on the case, Justice Salim Ibrahim declined the request. ATN reported earlier that a faction of the People's Democratic Party, led by Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, had approached the court seeking an ex parte order to hold the party's National Executive Council meeting. Some governors elected on the platform of the PDP, led by Mohammed, had earlier moved to remove acting national chairman Ambassador Omar Damagum. The move deepened the crisis in the party as some stakeholders, especially those loyal to the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike, opposed the move. The Federal High Court in Abuja has also issued an order barring the party from removing Damagum. The suit by Mohammed's faction was filed at the Federal High Court in Zamfara State. What do you have to say of these developments in PDP in Damzi?
Yes, I will start by applauding the judiciary again. I think our judges are beginning to wake up because Nigerians have opined severally that they keep giving conflicting judgments. We see conflicting judgment from courts of equal jurisdiction. But I thank God the Federal High Court in Zamfara, they have acted with wisdom. They have done the right thing, knowing that a Federal High Court in Abuja have said, no, you cannot tamper the seat of Damagu at this point, because the National Executive Committee ratified that position and said Damagu should hold brief until they do the National Congress. So all this rigmaroling, trying the back door to cause confusion in the party by Bala Mohammed and co. should be discouraged. Because at this point, what the PDP need this period is healing. The PDP needs sincere reconciliation. PDP needs the strong men in the party to be honest with themselves that prior before now, this party almost went docile. A man rose up, funded this party, rallied around party men to bring in this party together again. You know, sometime a colleague was arguing that Atiku played a major role in the formation of the PDP through the PDM, Yaradua machinery and all that. We are not disputing all that. What we are saying is, a man who bettered a child and abandoned the child, and someone else picked up that child, bettered that child, trained that child in school, and made sure that child become responsible in the society. Will such a man be abandoned? Will such a man be disregarded? Look at the crisis in the PDP. The genesis of the crisis. Some have said the crisis began when Amechi and co. left the party. Yes, that was the first leg of the crisis. But at some point it was contained until the bigger thing happened. What was the bigger thing that happened? That the party agreed to zone a ticket to the south, and they turn around again and return it to the north. And a man woke up and said, no, you can't treat southerners like this. We are rejecting this. And he made it known from the beginning that this move you made, you will have consequences. And that consequences is what we see today. The PDP is still jostling, battling to recover from that ill decision they took by not allowing a southern candidate fly the flag of the PDP. That is the problem, truth be told. So now, Damagu holding brief for Ayu. Because of Ayu's removal and all that, they saw the need to allow Damagu, who is also from the same region, to hold brief till the expiration of the tenure. And NEC have ratified that till the Congress. So why now try other court processes to hold NEC just to remove Damagu? I mean, it's very wrong. What they are doing is wrong, and we strongly advise that parties like people like Bala Mohammed should maintain decorum and allow the party leadership flow accordingly, instead of trying court processes that are not proper. So I hail the judge.
One would wonder, you know, Damagu, with some leaders from the northwest, paid a visit to Bala Mohammed, and they had a closed door session. And after that, Bala Mohammed came out to address the press and the public, and he said that he said he was highly elated by the visit by Omar Damagum and other dignitaries, bigwigs from the north. And he said that moving forward, as far as he's concerned, that PDP is no longer factionalized. You know, they are going to move ahead with one voice. They are going to work towards the peace of the PDP and all of that. And then suddenly this underhanded move. One would say, if you look at it from another perspective, this NEC has been postponed before. So why can't the NEC meeting hold? But of course, there will be a need for lobbying to be done. And probably if Damagu fails right now, I've not lobbied enough. I am not yet sure that the outcome of this NEC meeting, if it is convened right now, is going to favor me. He is using his position as the chairman to do what he needs to do. However, the PDP Governors Forum, on the other hand, are insisting, I mean the Bala-led faction are insisting this must go on. But that, which still comes back to what the visit of Damagum to Bala Muhammad and the statement of Bala Muhammad that there is no more faction. And he gave the impression that whatever friction he had with Damagum, you know, they've resolved it and now they are moving ahead as with one voice. But however, this action appears to be speaking differently.
Yes, you see, the whole thing boils down on character. You see, so many people in position of trust in Nigeria today lack character. How can a leader of such, a governor of a state, a senior man in PDP, after having a closed-door meeting with the embattled national chairman, you come up on a national TV, you tell Nigerians that the crisis is over, no more factions in party, that they are okay with Damaguti whenever NEC will meet sometime in November to hold NEC meeting to ratify Congress and all that. Then you turn around again without conferring with the man and other leaders of the party. You and your faction run to Zamfara to get a judgment behind. So, I mean, it's just about character. It's just about honesty. People who say a thing and don't keep to terms. It's a problem. The leadership, the kind of leadership we have today is a type that have decided not to honor the social contract they have with the populace. It's a type of leadership that is so adamant to the cry of the people. They don't care what happened. What they want is to cling to power and to remain in power. But I thank God for the courts once more. The courts is beginning to redeem its own reputation. So that is to say, our cry, God is beginning to hear the cry of Nigerians, using the judiciary to resolve some of these issues.
All right. Still speaking on character and integrity, Senate has constituted a 6-member ad hoc committee headed by Senator Enyinaya Abaribe to investigate drug allegations against the deputy leader of the Senate, Senator Oyelola Yisha Ashiru, APC, Kwara South. This followed a personal explanation by Ashiru under Order 42 of the Senate rules, in which the lawmaker said his privileges were breached by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. The NDLEA had said that Senator Ashiru's house in Ilorin, Kwara State, was raided and consignment of drugs recovered. Chairman of the agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Boba Marwa, made the allegation during a press conference on Monday. Marwa, represented by Mr. Femi Babafemi, Director, Media and Advocacy of the agency, also said 3 of Ashiru's aides were arrested, prosecuted and sentenced, including one sent to jail in June this year. Senator Ashiru had last week during plenary accused the NDLEA of corruption and compromise. While seeking protection from the Senate on Tuesday, Ashiru described the NDLEA allegations as malicious, saying it was an attempt to malign him and stop him from contributing to debates on the floor of the Senate. Ashiru said, "I am 68 years now. I can assert that I don't take alcohol, I don't take drugs, I don't get myself involved in these things. I don't take cannabis." Responding, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio backed the senator, saying, "Injury to one is injury to all." Akpabio said, "Anything you say here is covered by privilege. It is covered by immunity. In the Senate, we see you as a gentleman to the core." The Senate President charged the ad hoc committee to summon the leadership of NDLEA to appear before the Senate to justify the allegations. Akpabio threatened that failure to justify the allegations will be met with drastic action against the NDLEA. Ndamzi, what do you have to say to this story?
Yes, I want to say that, one, nobody is above the law, and nobody is to be shielded of crime of whatsoever, irrespective of whom that person is. The law is supreme, and the law doesn't act on emotion. The senator is only, looking at their Senate rules. The rules, there's rules on privileges, only guides them. That is their business in the Senate. What Nigerians are after is simple. Senator Ashiru, he said he's 68 years, he doesn't indulge in those things. Age doesn't foreclose committal of crime, don't forget. So, in my opinion as a lawyer, I want to say categorically that, first of all, the Senate summoning NDLA chairman, please, Mr. Bauer, attend their session and show them the evidence you have. And also, the Senate, in doing this as one of their functions, should tread with caution. Don't forget they don't have investigatory powers. They should be careful in doing this. The NDLEA, the Act empowers NDLEA if they suspect that this place is loaded with drug proceeds. The NDLEA, with or without court, with or without, what is it called again, can break into that place and arrest offenders. Right. So, if NDLEA has suspected Senator Ashiru of meddling or peddling in drugs, or he has acolytes who deals in drugs that have linked him, the law is simple. Ashiru, move into the NDLEA and clear yourself of the accusation. If he is found not having committed any offense, the law says they will apologize to him and he will walk away. But in this case, you can see the NDLEA is still insisting that they have something against him.
Now, this is the issue. Now, there are a lot of questions arising from this whole situation. First of all, NDLEA, when they were making their press briefing, said that they had raided in the past. So and so was discovered. They also said that even in the senator's hometown in Offa, that they raided and they arrested one of his boys. I'm quoting Babafemi in this instance, Mr. Femi Babafemi. He said they arrested one of his boys called Omo Senator. And then one of the boys that was arrested jumped bail in 2023 and was rearrested in 2024, prosecuted and sentenced in June 2024. Now, these things have transpired and happened. They said they had intelligence, they've done their surveillance. A lot of these raids has happened as far back as last year and early this year. And people have been captured, somebody has been prosecuted and jailed. The question is, why didn't the NDLEA let Nigerians know, knowing the level of the person being accused of this offense? Why did the NDLEA wait until Senator Ashiru on the floor of the House slammed NDLEA as compromised and unable to function and blamed NDLEA of not being as effective as they are supposed to be? NDLEA came out to say that, they waited for 1 week, hoping that the senator would take back his statements or apologize. The senator did not do that, and in the light of the senator's unwillingness to apologize, they are now coming out to, bust his bubble and tell Nigerians the person accusing us of not doing anything actually is, a drug peddler. His residence is used as a joint for drug dealers. When one looks at it from this perspective, it appears to be a vindictive step by NDLEA. Because if they were being honest through and through, since last year, this raid has happened. Even someone that they directly linked to him has been prosecuted, found guilty by the court and sentenced. Why did NDLA protect Senator Ashiru?
Yes, see, Laurentia, like I said earlier, we are in a system where institutions have really broken down, and politicians now meddle in the affairs of the security agencies. That is the reason why it's as if we are not feeling the effectiveness and validity of these security agencies in doing their authorized and lawful duties to the Nigerian populace. When it happened to a son of a nobody, they will parade them. The security agencies will parade them. Even some, they parade them half naked. But now it has happened that a senator is being linked, whether directly or indirectly. They didn't make it public.
Until now.
Until now. That is to tell you that in Nigeria, so many persons, instead of the law holding them, the law protects them.
But then the senator, the speaker, Ababio, has come out to say that Ashiru is already protected, has immunity in the House. And he is threatening NDLEA that there will be consequences if these allegations are not true. You know, when you look at the statement and the speech of Ababio, it appears that he has already clearly taken a side. The Senate has clearly taken a side, and they are on the side of the senator, instead of being neutral and allow justice or the right, even invite the police into this matter. The police should investigate what the accusations of the NDLEA, and also investigate the senator in this instance. But now, how do you judge a matter that you are actually appealing, if I may use that word? The Senate in this instance has taken side. Clearly there is a bias. Going by Senator Ababio's statement, there is a bias. And so far they have threatened the NDLEA, and then they now go ahead to form an ad hoc committee to bring in LDLEA. Would that be an investigation panel? Or is that a crucifixion that is about to happen? Or is it a way of shutting NDLEA up because they feel that as the Senate they can make laws to frustrate or whittle down the powers of the NDLEA?
Yes, you see, Nigerians should be very careful going henceforth on whom we elect to positions of trust, because most leaders just open their mouth and say whatever they like without thinking, without looking at the adverse effect of whatever they want to say on the people. NDLEA, they can, I mean, the Senate, like you posited, have already, from the statement of the Senate president, have already taken sides. He has termed it, and I quote, injury to one is injury to all. That is simple. The message has been communicated. We can't be here and this is you prosecute and all that. They have went further to promise him, protecting him and all that. That is very, very wrong. You see, in this instance, the NDLEA chairman, going by his antecedents, we know that he's a man of character and reputation. And I'm very, very aware that Buba Marwa is not a man that anybody can push. He's there to do his job. Beginning of his tenure till now, he has recorded some good successes. And he shouldn't be shut out completely. So I will advise Bawa to attend their session. And like I said before, I will also advise the Senate to tread with caution. And
the session, by the way, should not be a closed-door session.
It shouldn't be. They should make such session live.
Bawa should insist
on live. Let them go live.
Not being a closed-door session.
Let Nigerians hear and see what's going. See, I mean, I wonder why our leadership, moreover the National Assembly, have just decided to make ridicule of themselves instead of doing the constitutionally assigned job in Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution. They have just begun to go way above their mandate, and it's very, very wrong. It should be discouraged.
All right. All right, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue. Do not go away.
Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. The propagandists are top of the lead of this minister and the
Give us access to our money
As always said, there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. The propagandists are top of the lead of this minister and the
Give us access to our money
As always said, there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Supreme Court has reserved judgment in a suit filed by 19 state governments against the federal government, challenging the constitutionality of the laws establishing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and two others to a date to be communicated to the parties. The plaintiffs in the suit argued that the Supreme Court in Dr. Joseph Wobike versus Federal Republic of Nigeria had held that it was a United Nations Convention Against Corruption that reduced into the EFCC Establishment Act, and that in enacting this law in 2004, the provision of Section 12 of the 1999 Constitution as amended was not followed. The argument was that in bringing a convention into the Nigerian law, the provision of Section 12 must be complied with, adding that the provision of the Constitution necessitated the majority of the state houses of assembly agreeing to bring the convention in before passing the EFCC Act and others, which was allegedly never done. The argument of the states in their present suit, which they had reportedly been collaborated by the Supreme Court in the previous case mentioned, is that the law as enacted could not be applied to states that never approved of it, in accordance with the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, adding that any institution so formed on the basis of reducing a UN convention to law should be regarded as an illegal institution. The Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Wabemi, SAN, who was present in court as the defendant, had craved the court's indulgence to take the process they filed on Tuesday morning, while Justice Owani Abba Aji thereby granted leave to the defendants to use the reply on point of law filed on Tuesday. Ndamzi, what do you make of the story?
Yes, thank you. You see, EFCC Establishment Act of 2003 was an offshoot of a convention. Okay, then, you know, President Obasanjo then was moving about trying to get loan review and cancellation from the Paris and London clubs. So the Paris and London clubs then gave a directive that Nigeria is not a member of the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. Okay? That since Nigeria wasn't a member of FATF, that it will have far-reaching consequences on the review of the loan. So that necessitated Obasanjo then to fast-track the EFCC Establishment Bill, which was passed within 2 days. In fact, from the history of legislations in Nigeria since the creation of this country to date, the EFCC Establishment Fact is the fastest bill so far passed in the history of Nigeria. 2 days. It was submitted today and passed the next day. So in doing so, you will see there will be lots of lacunas, there will be mistakes, and the intendment of the act itself. The National Assembly, in making that bill, overstepped its bounds. Okay? Let us go back to the constitutionality or otherwise of the EFCC. I am one of the lawyers in Nigeria who strongly believe that EFCC is unconstitutional. The EFCC, as far as Nigeria is today, is unconstitutional. Why do I say this? Section 12, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended says that any convention that Nigeria and any foreign nation or body is to ratify here in Nigeria must be made lawful by the National Assembly. So that is to say the National Assembly will pass it into law before it can stand as law in Nigeria. So if you look at Joseph Nwabike against Federal Republic of Nigeria, the EFCC was very clear in interpreting section 12 subsection 2 of the Constitution. And the courts, the Supreme Court re-echoed the position of section 12 sub 2 in that Nwabike and the Federal Republic of Nigeria, where the Supreme Court said that foreign enactments and all that has to be domesticated within the Nigerian laws before it to stand. Then going by the purport of section 15 subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended is very clear. The Constitution there says that states shall do what? Fight corruption and abuse of power.
Not federal, but states.
Not federal, states. So now, in enacting such an act in Nigeria, knowing that it was a UN convention that is to be domesticated here in Nigeria, you must carry the states along. The National Assembly cannot pass that act
without
overnight,
the ratification of houses of assembly.
without the ratification of the states in Nigeria. Don't also forget, if we are looking at the justiciability of section 15, why make a law if corruption, fight against corruption is so important to Nigeria? Why make that section non-justiciable? That is the problem. And in my view as a lawyer, I think that is the reason why the EFCC, the ICPC, the NFIU, they have not done well in their convictions in court. Let us look at the contest, corruption itself as a contest in Nigeria, the huge fraud cases in Nigeria. What is the result? In my opinion, EFCC have underperformed. They have achieved little or nothing. Look at the general concept as to the amount of money stolen in Nigeria. How many have EFCC recovered? They told us that 2022 till now, they recovered about $120 million. That is just a meager amount compared to what have been stolen or what have been fraudulently taken away from the country. So, EFCC, in my view as a lawyer, it's an unconstitutional organization.
All right.
So, this is a time, going by Dr. Lisa Bakoba's letter to the National Assembly, and also the decision in Joseph Nwabike against Federal Republic of Nigeria, I think this is a time to constitutionalize EFCC.
Okay.
Otherwise, as it stands till today, till whenever the Supreme Court gives that judgment,
EFCC, in my opinion, is an unconstitutional organization, is an illegal organization, and it has performed little or nothing.
All right, Ndamze, I know you still have a lot to say about this issue, and hopefully we'll talk about it probably in coming days. Thank you so much for coming on Open Conversation. Sadly, we're out of time and we'll have to wrap up.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
And thank you so much, our viewers. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ogu Laurentia. Transition News comes up next. Do not go away.
Mr. President, my people are on the sea.